welcome everyone to today's workshop on the British Council Women in STEM Scholarships. I will quickly introduce to you Project EduAccess and the speaker, who will then take over and give you an overview of the scholarship, talk to you about the eligibility, the requirements of the scholarship, what the application timeline looks like. We'll talk to you about the application form, give you some tips on writing or answering the questions that are part of the application form, and give you some general tips when making your application for this. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are Project EduAccess. We believe that access to higher education, leadership, and professional opportunities is a privilege that most people from marginalized communities are systematically denied through cost, information, and dispositional barriers. What we try to do is improve inclusivity in these spaces by removing some of these barriers for marginalized communities in the global south. We do this by providing mentorship, engaging in advocacy, running um, online and in-person capacity building workshops. And today's workshop is a series of workshops that we're conducting on scholarship opportunities for higher education abroad and to make information more accessible to all of you. To do that, we have with us a wonderful speaker who you would have seen in our past videos past videos and has already done a workshop with us. So we have with us Akanksha, who completed her MSc in Biotechnology with Microbiology from Bangor University in Wales and received the British Council Women in STEM Scholarship in 2019-2020. Thank you so much, Akanksha, for joining us today and for taking the time out on a Sunday to speak to everyone about the British Council Scholarship. Um, Thank you, and I'll hand it over.
Thank you, Ms. Ba, for introducing me. Hello, everyone, and a big thank you to actually Project EduAccess for organizing this. It's so important to help out a lot of people um, who really want to like pursue their education abroad, and it's a great way. So yeah, big thank you to you guys, and hello everyone. I'm Akanksha, and I was a British Council Women in STEM scholar in the year 2018 19, and I pursued MSc in biotechnology with microbiology from Bangor University, and it's in north of Wales. I'll start with the overview about the scholarship. So number one, like it quite reads about like it's from the background of STEM, which includes pure science, mathematics, electronics, and technologies, which I think most of you all know it. And also, the scholarship focuses majorly on women participation and their participation in STEM, and it's kind of a way to motivate more women to join the STEM background and make it an equilibrium platform globally. The other agenda of the scholarship is also to uh, to support women who are not financially stable or cannot support themselves when it comes to studying firstly in STEM subjects, because in compared to the other arts or commerce subjects, STEM is usually a little expensive even when you're studying in your own home country. um, uh, so it requires an additional amount of financial support, and British Council is actually focusing on that aspect also. Um, the next thing is it is right now focusing majorly on global south, because we have seen the kind of involvement the global south require. Especially most of the countries are on the developing platform, and they are constantly fighting a lot of like fiscal issues, political issues, and climate change, and the other geopolitical issues. So the focus has been around global south right now. And the scholarship, moving on to the what the scholarship covers is your tuition fees, stipend, travel cost, visa, and health coverage fees. I would like to explain it to you what basically the stipend is. That is your living cost, and usually it differs from people who are applying for universities which is in London, and the universities which is not in London. So which are not in London. So the ones which are in London is a little they provide an extra stipend, but it is say about when I was applying the stipend. So we didn't have the stipend and travel costs, etc. So the next year they introduced it, and the stipend then it was for London it was around 12,000 pounds a year, and the universities which are not in London, they had it around 10,000 pounds in London. It differs from year to year, so you need to keep a check on the website, and either on the British Council website or with the university you're applying to. Um, so that's one of the thing which they do, and it's also the reason they do it, like the reason they defer it every year is also because they um, also calculate the change in the financial support which which UK is facing or something, or the kind of the rise and downfall of the finances. So it's a good thing which they do it. Yes, that's all around that. Can we have the next slide, please? Oh, no, no, the next one. Um, yes, so when it comes to the eligibility, it's the academic year usually starts between September to October. So it is only for the fall intake and not for the January one. And as mentioned, that you need to demonstrate the need of your need for your financial support, that which covers uh, uh, whether your parents are I or tax income status, which you have to submit it. Other than that, there's your undergraduate degree. Also, in case if you have completed any master's degree from India, um, so or from India or from your own country, other than the UK. So that's one criteria. And when it comes to the level of English required, most of us do apply for IELTS exams, but it does not have to be compulsory. There are a lot of times when the universities ask that if your first language has, whether you've studied your, whether you have undertaken your education in in English, and or your first language is English. So, and in that cases, you're exempted to take IELTS. Um, the Another thing is whatever subject you're applying for, if you have an active participation around that subject, say about if I'm applying for biotechnology or a social development sector, I need to showcase that these are my voluntary roles which I did, or my internships, or any kind of research. So that is something which you can provide it with the proof, of course, and your willingness to complete the course in the UK and also remain engaged with the British Council scholarship alumni team. And I must tell you, it's one of the scholarship, or it's one of the alumni team which is constantly active. So every year there is an alumni meet. They engage the alumni in a very different way, and from communications to ambassadorship programs. So it's a constant work also once you're done with your education. Yeah. Um, the uh, the other thing is, if you cannot, how can you not be eligible for it? Is if you hold a British, if you hold a British citizenship, or there's a dual citizenship, or if you're an employee of a government or anyone in the embassy of any kind, irrespective of British. So you cannot be one, and you cannot be related to any former scholarship holders too. And your financial support should also be appropriate. So when it comes to financial support, usually they take a support within 7 lakh, as per I remember. Um, but again, I would like to ask you to actually check it once with them, because either they increase it, or they usually decrease the amount, but I don't think so. They have increased the amount, but the marginal income source you need to show is within 7 lakh. So yeah, that should be a family income that comprise like any of your parents' income and yours. So together. So that's the thing. Um, the other thing is you cannot be eligible if you are already previously studied in the UK or have been funded by any of the UK government scholarship. So yeah. Um, Now when it comes to the application process, so this can be actually two ways. The first way is that you have to visit the specific university page. So the British Council STEM scholarships like are available for only certain universities, so you can actually check it on the website. And I believe we have also put it on the slide. Um, and uh, or you can either you visit the website and check the university pages where the British Council scholarship is available, STEM scholarships are available, and then you apply through it. Or the other way is, which happened with me, was the university where I applied. The university itself nominates the student for the British Council STEM scholarship if you fit the criteria of the university standards. So you would be, and we can explain or discuss that later. The other thing is, as I mentioned, that you have to visit the university page and then follow the instructions and apply for it. So yeah, and the successful can further to that, like once the acceptance has occurred, then you have to submit the nomination. They have to submit the written application form, which consists of 4 to 5 questions, and the last process is a one-on-one interview round um, with the chair members of the British Council team. When it comes to guidance about the application form, so I'll go one by one through it. So the first thing is you need to be really active with your work experience, or show that you really have the interest in the program which you have applied for. So I would suggest that in if you're applying for any sort of program, please try to seek for any volunteering or internship opportunities across, or even if you can take up anything which you do, like a course or a part time, which could actually be associated with your resume when you're applying for the application. Um, Secondly, is to demonstrate that you would be building um, relation in terms of socioeconomic education or capacity building with UK education system, with UK and India. So it's like you would be going there to building bridges between your country and the UK education system there. So you also need to be active enough to actually seek opportunities which are already available in the UK, and you can do it remotely and try to make more and more connections with them, so that that can be away. That is something which you can show in your form, either in your application form or you can show it on your resume. um, the other thing is building since the entire focus of this is around women and girls in STEM, so show an active participation around these gender issues, and especially for your home country, and because that's what you will be promoting. So there needs to be an active participation around the studies around gender, women and girls. um, the last one is that you have to share your personal information with the British Council. um, Personal information in the sense, your educational background, your familial background, any relatives who are, as I mentioned, um, uh, as mentioned, that British Council does not really accept a lot of students who have got relatives working either as government employees or in embassies. So those will be cross-checked. So please be really careful while you're applying, and do it, and maintain a constant connect with the British Council if in any case you are confused with the application or something. um, the most important thing is, and I also mentioned that you will be acting as an ambassador throughout your life. So just remember, while you're applying for it, it will be a lot of work and a lot of engagement activities, even after once you're done with your education. So either you'll be involved in any of the British Council work, or uh, there will be a constant update about what you're doing and how you're promoting it. So, um, like, I would also ask you all to be ready for that, which follows up after this. Yes, so for the courses which are covered, and this university which which sponsor which are sponsored by the British Council is available on the British Council website itself. We could not put it over here because it was a really long list, but you can always visit the website, and I believe there's about 20 to 22 universities which they cover, and there are specific course which are of course under STEM, mostly, and I can name a few, which includes like degrees in biomedical sciences, biotechnology, psychology, anything related to sustainable sciences, mathematics, um, around physics or chemistry. So yeah, these are some of the subjects which are available, but rest of the information you can get it from the British Council website itself. So this is one of the screenshot which we try to put it on the slide for an example, and it is from the University of Strathclyde, and they have these number of courses which are available for the British Council STEM scholarship. Also, like, different universities have got different subjects which they cover. So it's much advisable to actually check the university websites instead of British Council website. You can find the university names under the British Council, but for the checking of eligibility, you need to seek through the university website. This is one of the, so as I mentioned that I got in through by a nomination. So this is technically how a nominated form looks like, and I'm also sure that the application form which you would be applying for British Council would be somewhere similar to this. Um, uh, it's a very basic form where they'll be asking you academic background and professional background with your personal information. The no, next slide. Yes, so then your references. Now when come to references, I would suggest you to have one academic reference and one professional reference. A professional reference with the in terms with the place where you work, but make sure that that work experience is also aligning with the course you're applying for. For example, if I am working in a marketing sector and I cannot put the reference from the marketing company, instead if I'm applying for like a sustainable development course, I should have in volunteering or maybe an internship certificate or somewhere from a sustainable development firm, and that would go for my second reference. In case if you do not have that, have a professional reference, you can just apply for your academic reference, which would be the professors from your university. So yeah. Um, the personal statement is consists of like these three parts, which is why do you wish to study in the UK and the qualification you are applying for, why do you want to take it, um, and as I mentioned, how do you think that studying in the UK would contribute to your success, what are your career plans, and the scholarship focuses on also that when you return back to the country, what would you do with that form of education, and you would be helping your country with it. So stress upon that when you're answering the second question. um, the third thing is how would be you bridging the gap between the UK and India, or I'm sorry, UK and your country, or appear to be the brand ambassador between the two countries. So that's majorly what you would be answering on the third question. Yes, so this is pretty straightforward when it comes to documents which you will be submitting, that is your university degrees, any additional academic credentials. For example, if you have taken any other course from anywhere, or any vocational training, please do submit all of them. It just adds up to giving you an extra point. Your CV, tailor it according to um, the make it usually just make it a one pager CV, or tailor it according to the kind of application you're making, the kind of course application you're making, and you can always have a Google search around it. For example, if you're making for a research, like if you're aiming to be in the research, there will be a um, different kind of CV which would be tailored. But if you're going for a communication but still setting up in the science sector, that would be a different sort of a CV which will be tailored. So always have a Google search around your CV and then put it across. Then is an IELTS certificate, but it's not compulsory, as I mentioned. Your statement of purpose very important in your reference letters. So also when you're writing, when you're submitting your reference letters, please make it sure that it's on the header of your um, either academic body or your professional body. So yeah, that's all from this slide. Now, when it comes to the timeline, it differs and it varies according to the university and according to the department. The earliest deadline is usually the end of Feb, but there are some of them which actually extends up to the April. So you need to have like a constant check with the university in terms of the deadline. You can move to the next. Um, the questions which are asked in the scholarship application form. Um, as I mentioned, that there will be a couple of questions which are asked when you are nominated by the university. That can be different from from the questions which are actually available in the application form. The reason is sometimes when the university is nominating you, they also want like a surety, that since I'm nominating you, are you worthy enough to actually stand by it? So there can be some more extended questions that can be answered, that can be available when you are nominated by your university. Either ways, when it comes to the STEM application form, as I mentioned, it is pretty straightforward. There is not much of questions which are included in that. The basic about what sort of questions which are asked is your interest of choosing the specific STEM subject area, the experience and skills that you're demonstrating while you're applying for the scheme, and how will you engage women and girls from your country in STEM, and how will you act as an ambassador to promote the UK and the system of education there across STEM subjects and across your country too. We can have the next slide. Yes, so when you're answering these questions, the most important thing is research. Research thoroughly two things. Firstly, about the funder of your scholarships, like you can have like a research around why did British Council of India establishing this scholarship, and tailor your answer or your goals according to that, and the scope of your subject. Sometimes um, what is the scope of your subject in your country, what's the scope of your subject across the country, and how can you have an idea which can actually help to enlarge the scope, because that's the aim of the scholarship scheme, and that's what we want the scholars to do in future. So if you have any sort of ideas, jot it down, research it through, and see what you can actually provide in your answer, um, and prepare your answers according to the goals of your life. If like you can actually have like a 5 year plan, you written down somewhere. Tailor your answers according to that. That 5 years from now, I want to do this, and this is how I will reach. This is my plan. So tailor your answer according to that. The other thing is, while you're describing your skills, be sure that when you're describing your skills, you have an explanation to it or an example to it. For example, if I'm describing a leadership skill and I've never been a school cheerleader also, I don't think so. That's something you could put it on your application form, but have the skills which you're really confident enough to put it on the application forms, so that they will be confident enough to actually support you. We can move to the next slide. Yes, so when it comes to the interview, do not rush while you're answering. I know it can be really stressful at times and anxious, so you don't have to rush while you answer. Hear them carefully. In case if you think you've not heard the question or you're nervous, do ask them to repeat the question. They'll be happily to do so, and that's absolutely not the reason why you may think that I've asked it and they might reject it. That's absolutely not the way they would do it. Secondly, be ready to be evaluated for your behavior. Um, we had the interviews luckily online, but since last year they actually started to have like an offline on one of person to person interview rounds. So dress up well, um, um, and have go with a really nice soft behavior. So be ready for all the evaluation that they would be coming across, from sitting posture to your conversational skills. Everything will be evaluated by them. Also prepare yourself with current affairs and general knowledge, especially if it's aligning with your subject area. Suppose if you're studying something in sustainable science or climate science, something like that, and you don't even have like an idea about what what sort of net zero goals or what sort of climate issues are going on. So I think it's really advisable to have basic general knowledge, and just not with that, also outside your field, outside your scope of interest, especially in the political sector, because at the end of the day, that's a sector which would be impacting your field as well, because it impacts all of the fields. So I think political sector and finances are something which you should also consider while you're going through current affairs and general knowledge. Lastly, just be confident and be positive around. Be the person you are. You do not have to really stress in making them like you. Just speak what you think is the right way to do it. And I think more than the perfection, they also seek for someone who's different and who could actually bring out a different kind of solution to the various other problems which we are facing. So, yeah, stay confident around it. Um, the next slide, please. Yes, so as I mentioned, when you're answering to any of the questions, stick to your goals, stay aligned with what you're answering, what your goals are, your subject, and how can that be impactful in your career, for your country and for women and girls, and how could that be promoted across. And as I mentioned it earlier also, that embrace that you're different and you're unique, and that is something which they actually seek. So it's the difference that gets most of them in. So yeah, if you have a weird and different idea, don't be shy enough to actually put it down um, on your answer sheet, or don't be shy enough to actually answer them. Yeah, or even like your qualities, maybe it can be odd, it can be very weird to you or to a lot of people, but then if you like it, so just be confident enough to answer that. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Any questions?
Yes, thank you so much, Akanksha. That was really wonderful and so comprehensive. There's already a question in chat, so I'll just read it out and you can answer it. So it says, I've done my bachelor's in EE and have 2.5 years experience in the same field. I'm applying for master's in data analytics, business analytics. I don't have any work experience in that field, but I'm doing a certification course. You mentioned that we need to have work experience in the course we want to apply for. Will I still be eligible for the scholarship?
Um, uh, Hi, Rakshanda. So apparently, it's not only like you do not necessarily need to have like a work experience in the course you're applying for. It's also the kind of an interest and why you're transitioning to that particular field is required. So you need to actually find a gap on why do you want to make this transition happen. So suppose like you're studying, you mentioned that you did your bachelor's and EE. So and then you can you can actually find a relation between um, EE and the data analytics or business analytics field, or how can that be helpful in the data analytics field. Also, you mentioned that you're doing a certification course. I think that's wonderful. That would also earn you like a lot of points that you can go forward, like explaining this that you're doing it, and that can also be indulged in your in whatever career aspects you will be going further with data analytics or business analytics. So yeah, of course, like it's nothing that would not stop you or not from being eligible. So yeah.
Thank you, Akanksha. So the other question is, if you want to do a second master's, how do you justify it to them if needed? Do you have any tips on
Um, See, like, it's okay if you want to do a second master's. It's your choice. The thing you need to describe here is your interest and how passionate you are about the second master's field you are going to apply for. So you need to show that passion. And as I mentioned, if you are passionate enough to do that second master's, you also need to have a proof about why do you how you are passionate about it. So you can go forward taking up any sort of like course or volunteering opportunities if available side by side with whatever you're doing now, so that makes it like seen verified also, that sorry, not verified but justified also, that my eagerness to do the second master is valid. So that would be my suggestion.
that? Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So the other question, so there's two more questions in chat.
Yeah, yeah.
So the other question is, I can't find updated information on the British Council website. It still shows information for 2023-24 and mentions call for applications will open in early 24.
Yeah, so as I said, that it varies from different universities. Either check up the university pages, which are mentioned, or else you can. It's still mid-January, so I think you can wait by the end of January or Feb, uh, because then they would be updated. But if you have any particular university on your mind, you can actually go forward and either apply to the university or you can ask the university team. I think, as I mentioned, we had it from Strathclyde. So Strathclyde does is associated with British Council. That's one of the universities. Also, you can check it. The other thing, you can check it the previous year's universities which are available, and then go back to the university pages and apply via those university pages if you have any doubt. So, or else, of course, you can wait. I mean, you still got time. So, yeah.
Yeah, even from what I was looking, they most of the websites said that they're going to open applications soon. So I mean, now is the time to just keep a lookout.
Yes.
Um, and what I was reading about the scholarship is and might be relevant for some people on the call is that it does provide like special assistance for um, scholars who have dependents. So if for mothers who are going to be traveling with their children, they do give some special assistance, which is, I think, a really good point
Yeah.
about the scholarship.
Yes.
Mm. So the other question is, can you please confirm if one needs to return to the home country after the completion of their course?
Yes, so apparently you have to. It's actually in alignment with Commonwealth. So most of the Commonwealth scholarships does not allow you to stay back to the UK. So you have to return back to the country. Um, in case in the very different cases, like if in case like you land up a job supposedly working with the British government or something, which is justifiable, then you can ask of the scholarships team that this is the reason, and since I've been appointed a job or something, I need to stay back, so they would help you out to figure out a way to do it, or they can always remove that clause from your um, contract. Yeah. Any more questions?
No, just I just want to add that as per the guidance that's online for going back, it says that you can't be in the UK for the next 2 years. So similar to I
Yeah.
guess also cheapening, which is that after the completion of your course, you'll have to leave the UK for 2 years, and you only then you'll be able to come back, which means you can't even apply for the graduate route visa
Yes.
and stay back. Um, okay, so there's one more question. I searched the universities on British Council website. I could only find one university that is offering this course. I've applied to that university and I'm waiting for the response. Can you make it clear one more time that does the university nominate for the scholarship or do I have to apply separately to the scholarship like she's me?
So it's both the ways. So either the university nominates it's in the student, or you have to apply for the scholarship. As I mentioned, like if the university nominates, the only difference it comes is when the university nominates, there will be some added more interview questions in the form itself, and there'll be because it goes to uh, two steps, that the first form will be submitted to the university and then it passes to the British Council office. So that's the thing. The other way is like you have to apply it like on your own from the British Council website or from the university that takes you to the British Council website. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'd suggest just dropping an email to the university and asking them if
Mhm.
they would also send you applications and also keep a lookout for the application for that the British Council website will upload. Because as of now, as Akanksha mentioned, the British Council hasn't uploaded anything on their website. So maybe just send an email to the university and also keep a lookout on the website to see if there's any change or any um, update in the application process. There's another question. Sorry, I told you in the beginning you might not have too many questions, but now we do.
No, no, that's
Uh,
okay. That's okay.
um, the question is, I've completed um, my course on interior designing for 2 years diploma, and then I had 2 years of experience in the same field, and then I studied bachelor's of business administration and worked as a communication trainer and soft skills trainer and got promoted as a demo trainer. Now I'm working as a student manager. Can you guide what suits best for masters? I'm thinking to pursue business analytics.
Um, so it's a tricky question to be honest, because this absolutely depends on what do you wanna pursue. Um, but to ease this up, maybe you can actually research around the various universities or the various courses which are available, which can also be aligning with what you have done, and also the um, also I mean the scholarship which is available. You said you're thinking to pursue business analytics, which is a great course, but maybe you can do like a bit more research around it and see if that is something which you would like to do. I do not rush around it because I don't want anyone to like take up a course and then at the mid of something where you want to retract from the course, because then it just becomes really difficult to do. So I guess this is something which you have to really research around yourself also, and with um, with the internet. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd also say I don't think we're really equipped to answer that question. That's
Yes.
something you'll have to figure out and sort of look at what are the opportunities available within that field of business analytics, what it requires, what would it give you, and see whether that aligns with what you aim for your future and what your goals are. And then once you have a short list, and then you can have conversations with people who are in that field. I think both Akanksha and I are not, from any of the relevant fields, so may not be able to
Yeah.
give you good guidance. Fatima, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, hi. My generally my course is environment and development, but I was looking at this course of ecology, culture, and society. It was at Goldsmith University, and it was 2 years in 2022, and it had British Council scholarship. But that time I didn't know much about it. Now it was an MA course. So what I want to
Okay.
understand that the yeah, and what I want to understand is, do in while filling the form, do we have to really say that we're inclined towards the science of, and because I really don't want to be more in lab rather than I would like to be in field. So is it really very scientific that you have to be and you have to show that you are interested in doing that?
So I'll just make you a little bit clear. You do not have to be in the lab to actually be around the science field. You can be on the field and still be on the science field. Like right now, I
Great.
transitioned. Like I used to be in working in the lab, but now I have transitioned myself, and I'm more on the field and holding more on the desk job and doing the analysis part. So it has got nothing to do with that. That I mean, you can absolutely strike that off from that you have to be stressed around it. Yeah, I mean, just make sure that you're explaining that these are your scientific interests, and you would be able to do it on field. So that's all it requires. Yeah, unless and until labs usually come in when you have those skills to do the lab work. So, or you have the interest to do the skills in the lab work. So, either that. But if you do not have the interest or the skills, then you do not have to do it. So, yeah.
It still is considered under STEM, right?
Yeah, it's still considered an STEM.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank
I think
No.
as long as the course is, so the university, each of the universities will have a list of courses that are
Yeah.
eligible for the Women in STEM scholarship. So as long as it's covered under the scholarship, I don't think you have to then additionally show that it's STEM related. After that, it's just about your interest and answering those specific questions of
Yes.
how you're bridging the gap and all of the things that Akanksha basically mentioned. Um, I think that's about it. If there's
I
any
think
other question, yeah, that was.
apparently, yeah, I think. No, you mentioned. Yeah.
If there's any other question, now would be the time to either raise your hand and ask or put it in chat. If if not, then maybe then we can end the session. For those
Yeah.
of you who joined late, we have this is a recorded session, and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel in a few days. You can I would just drop a link to our YouTube channel here. Um, oh, Akanksha, there's a question. So while I'm putting the
Okay.
links, maybe you can answer. Which is there any word limit for the answers?
It's usually provided in the description box itself, which comes to between 100 to 200 for each question. But in case if you're submitting your SOPs, I would suggest to just make it between 500 to 700 words in the length. But otherwise, the word limit is provided in the question box. In case if it's not provided, make it under 200 words, I think. That would be advisable.
Great. I've also sent three. Um, if so I put three links in chat. One is for the YouTube channel, where we'll upload the recording of this session, and we've uploaded the recordings of other workshops that we've done. Second is our website, where we've uploaded our guides on writing application documents and have uploaded recordings of workshops that we've done in the previous mentorship cycle. And third is our email ID, which is info@projecteduaccess.com. For our mentees, if you are a mentees with us, then you know where to reach out to us. But if you're not a mentee, then email us at info@projecteduaccess.com. For the question that is in my DM about contacting some specific speakers, again, if you are a mentee with us, then then reach out to the operations team. But if you're not a mentee with us, then email us for this request on info@projecteduaccess.com. Um, then, okay, great. And we will get back to you. With that, I think we can end the session. Thank you so much, Akanksha, for taking the time out and speaking to all of us, for joining us and preparing and helping prepare the PPT and giving such a comprehensive presentation. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. All the best with your applications. And yeah,
Thank you, and all the best. Bye.
bye, everyone. Have a nice weekend.